This is Jonathan Ferguson, the keeper of firearms and artillery at the Royal Armouries Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons from throughout history. And on this episode, we've nearly broken poor Jonathan with some of the most cursed customizations that Call of Duty Vanguard's multiplayer has to offer.
God, I think this is a Garand. What have they done to you? I can hear John Cancius Garand revolving in his grave, probably more efficiently than this drum mag revolves.
If you want to see more of Jonathan's take on the weapons of Call of Duty, we've got you covered with videos on Black Ops, Cold War, World War II, and 2019's Modern Warfare. And if there are any other games, guns, and mechanics that you guys want to see Jonathan break down, let us know in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one, and if you'd like to help out the Royal Armouries Museum and continue to support Jonathan's work, check out the links in the description of this video. Right, over to Jonathan.
Okay, I think we're off to a strong start, because although this is a prototype Russian assault rifle that never saw service, this is the Sudaev AS-44, despite that, it looks pretty good. And I'm kind of a fan of having things that really existed, well modelled, well textured, in a game that has a fantastic setting anyway. Now there's something not right with the front end of this. The heat shield from memory is longer with more holes. And the finned barrel, again, I don't remember seeing a photo of an AS-44 with a finned barrel. So I suspect this has been modified in game, or they've got it wrong, but I suspect it's a modification. Alright, we'll pause there. There's just going to be a lot of pained wincing going on, I think, in this review. Wow, where to start? So this is clearly somewhere in a past life a Browning BAR M1918A2. You can tell from the magazine guides, even if all the other features have been altered by some sadistic maniac. The Egyptian / East German / Polish-esque AK wire folding buttstock makes me cry a little inside. The broom handle vertical foregrip I can latch onto as something that people really did improvise in the field. That's perhaps plausible. The whole front end is just kind of wacky looking. It looks like finned barrels are a standard option for the weapons in this game. I mean, needless to say, in real life you can't just pull a barrel and replace it with a finned barrel, and any cooling benefit it gave you would be minimal, which is why they went away as a thing. They were deleted because it was cheaper to make and quicker to make a gun, and they really didn't do that much for dissipating heat. Not nothing, but not much. And pause again there, because we have one of these heinous optical sights. I'm not sure what it looks like. It's tiny. I mean, we can barely make optical sights with a field of view like this now, so we certainly didn't have them in the 1940s. And while I'm staring at it, least of this gun's problems, but the carrying handle is anachronistic. Browning 1918A2 did not have the carrying handle in the Second World War. Again, where to start? So, buttstock, what's going on there? Don't know what that's supposed to be. Looks like it might be inspired by the Uzi buttstock, which folds under the gun. This clearly doesn't do that. Looks like it hinges to the side. Okay, maybe for transporting the gun. But with this drum magazine on there, that's not going to work. The buttstock's going to hit the mag. Speaking of the drum magazine, what? So we do have pump action shotguns now that will feed from a box or a drum magazine inserted under the action like a rifle, and it makes the tube magazine where the pump grip is redundant. So that's a real thing, definitely not a real thing in the 1940s, so that sticks out like a sore thumb. We've got a ludicrously huge foregrip attached to the pump grip, which you'd normally just grab and pump. So don't have a huge problem with wooden foregrips on things. They bodged them onto all sorts of guns. That I can get my head around. What you couldn't do is turn an 1897 into a conventional mag-fed gun. So this isn't utterly heinous, but I think the drum and the stock push it over the edge for me. Insta pause there. So for some reason I'm fixating on the black strip on the grip, having seen that on another gun, and it looks, for all the world, like that's grip tape. Now, the idea of putting skateboard tape, or a specialist firearms version of it, on the grip of your firearm to make it less slippery is definitively a 21st century phenomenon. That may be the least of our problems. So what have we got here? Well, let's grab a real one. So leaving aside the drum magazine, what we've sort of got here is the Luger carbine. Obvious difference is the barrel is a lot shorter, a good couple of inches shorter in the game. Otherwise, we've got a Thompson cuts compensator on the end of the barrel. I mean, this has the muzzle design of the standard Luger or the artillery Luger, rather than this, just tapered barrel. It has a swollen tip. You can't just stick a cuts on the end of that. That should be over that portion of the barrel and pinned on. You know, it's just magically stuck to the end. And then we turn to the drum magazine. Now, this is in 7.65 Luger, so won't fit the drum. This was originally designed for the Luger, for the 9mm P08, for use with the long-barreled version, and was then adapted for use on the Bergmann MP18 submachine gun. The magazine in the game looks basically nothing like it. It's like they saw it once and have just made their own.
Recon mission ready.
Oh, wow. Pause there. Oh, wow. Canted, offset, not even iron sights. So this 1940s handgun has not one but two optical sights on it. A telescopic style one that looks vaguely like it might exist in the 1940s, albeit with a yellow illuminated reticle that didn't exist yet. And then canted and offset like a modern rifle with a red dot sight for close quarters. That's what this has. The world's tiniest 1940s reflector gun sight mounted on the side of the sight mount. Yeah. Oh god. Okay, this confused me initially. Someone's playing games with me. I looked at the barrel and thought, is this, and the drum type magazine, thought, is this an MG15? No, the back end looks like a 42. It is in fact an MG42 that somebody has somehow replaced the whole barrel assembly and half the receiver, effectively, with an MG34 style barrel, and they have removed the buttstock. Now, it's been a while since I took an MG42 apart, but I think when you do that, you lose your recoil spring. So I don't think that's possible, and it's certainly not desirable, because how are you going to shoot it without a buttstock? But clearly that will confer some benefit in the game. I'm not even going to ask what. Again, barely recognisable as a Mosin rifle, M1891 carbine maybe, or even cut down more than that. It's very short. A really weird bit of iron shelving monopod. But of course, I know we're in multiplayer here. I have to remember, we're in multiplayer. But it's just ridiculous. So we've got a modification to box magazine feed, which I don't think would... Well, I'm fairly certain wouldn't work, because this box magazine is inserted into the magazine housing. Therefore, the box magazine is narrower than the actual magazine in the gun. I don't think the rounds would even fit. It's got an enormous, what looks like magazine catch that's attached to the magazine, not to the magazine well, effectively. So even if that would work, you're going to hit it by accident and have your magazine fall out. We've then got weird, like 1980s Ford Escort upholstery as a sort of grip zone on the semi-pistol grip on this thing, and then I don't know what that is on the base of that, and a really weird modern-looking Monte Carlo-esque semi-pistol grip buttstock that didn't exist. Okay, so this is not quite as wacky as it looks. So this is actually based upon the MP41, which is a weird reversion of the MP3840 design to the old style Bergmann rifle style wooden stock. So this did happen in 1941. These were actually produced and issued alongside the MP38 and the MP40. So seeing this in the game, absolutely fine. Good way to change things up a little bit. It's got quite a different aesthetic, but the way this has been modified, so cheek riser, like a modern sniper rifle. I don't think those even existed for sniper rifles in the 40s. I'm pretty sure of that. That's a bit mad. We've got a weirdly out of scale Thompson 1921-1928 foregrip bodged onto the bottom of this wooden stock. Like, it's the wrong size. There's no visible means of attaching it. I guess they could have put a bolt up through... No, I mean, if you look at the bottom of this thing, this is all part of the receiver of the weapon. It's not wood. You can't easily... You'd have to drill and tap the metal. Again, I'm overthinking this one.
Hostile recon in the air. Spies in the sky. Recon sweeping the sector. Double kill.
Right, well, this is a version of the Charlton rifle. This is the Electrolux made version of it in Australia, but the design is New Zealand, and that's reflected in the sort of made up name for this. This has been mercifully left mostly as it is in real life. I spoke a little too soon. We have some grip tape on this as well. I don't know whose idea it was to put 21st century grip tape on 1940s guns, but there we are. Lots of lovely detail on this model. We can see the massive great gas cylinder on the side of this thing that turns it from a bolt action into an automatic rifle. So great job with the gun. It's the modifications that players can do to it, and if you do this, it's your own fault.
Lead is lost. Fight back. Double kill.
Pause there, hold the phone. 30 round magazine capacity. That is very clearly the SMLE 10 round magazine that is actually on the Charlton rifles. How that's 3 times the size, I don't know. Quantum singularity in the bottom of the magazine box or something. Personally, I would have upped the damage or something and kept the capacity realistic. Even though I've seen this one before, it still makes me twitch. Right, so let's break this down, shall we? We have here what happens when you put all your Sten guns in the dryer. This is what comes out. So we have a Mark II Sten front sort of barrel, and definitely the handguard with the holes in it. That's Mark II Sten. Then we have a Mark I Sten, substantially, with its wooden front furniture thing and vertical folding foregrip, but covered in paint. And then we have a Mark V-esque buttstock assembly on the back of it. So we have a mashup of 3 different marks of Sten with an ahistorical suppressor, an ahistorical reflex sight, an ahistorical pistol grip that I don't recognise, and a slightly silly paint scheme. So a real mashup. Now, as I often do, I grabbed something from the collection and I wondered which mark of Sten to grab. All of them? No. Instead, I thought I'd show you what the game could have done. This is one of the Mark IV experimental Stens. So it has a suppressor on it, much bigger, you'll notice. A suppressor with that small volume wouldn't be very efficient. And then it has an unusual shaped pistol grip, so that's a box tick, with an even more unusual trigger guard and a weird stock. Now this was for paratroopers in theory, so you pull this catch, you rotate, and then you lock it into place, and you have this. You can even use it as a foregrip. Super compact, very cool looking, but it actually existed in the middle of the war period. Alright, pause out of the gate with whatever this is. God, I think this is a Garand. What have they done to you? Yep, definitely a Garand action. Some bizarre, very 1990s to 2000s looking sporting stock. Ludicrous tank style, or maybe boys-esque, not really. Muzzle brake on the end there. Guess that would help with the recoil of the cartridge. It would. Did they have them then? No. And we've got an optical sight mounted over in front of the action, so at least we're not blocking anything from functioning there. Now, we did have Garands with optical sights mounted on them, but not in the Second World War. The M1C, the M1D were, as far as I know, they may have been developed by 1945, but they were not issued. And we have a drum magazine, because of course we do. I can hear John Cancius Garand revolving in his grave, probably more efficiently than this drum mag revolves. What just happened? So I didn't notice it the first time, but when we shoot this abomination dry, and there's the iconic ping. We can hear the ping, but if you look at the action, nothing comes out, except maybe the last case. Something's gone wrong here. An M1 ping without the clip. Very confusing. Oh, I'm actually speechless at this thing. Let's try from the front, shall we? We've got a vaguely period-looking muzzle brake. Not really that much recoil on a Sturmgewehr, which is clearly what this was before it was butchered. We've got a delightful black and gold colour scheme, which I don't hate actually. I think that's the thing I hate least about this. We've got a drum magazine, because why not? Not sure what's going on with the sights, but I'm not going to like it, I'm pretty sure. And then more grip tape, more gold, and then for some reason we've got a sort of H&K end cap for an MP5 or something transported back through a wormhole to the Sturmgewehr. So we've got no buttstock, just like a blanked off cap. At least we've got that. At least the recoil spring isn't free to fly out the back of the gun. The gun would actually work, maybe, if there's enough room there. I'm not entirely sure. And frankly, I'm slightly losing the will to live. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. What can I say about this thing? It looks like somebody took a cutting torch, to a Thompson. So, we've got ostensibly a 1928 type receiver with the cuts for the drum mag, although the lower is M1. We've got a skeletal machined out grip, which you'll see occasionally these days, more so in games in real life. There's nothing like that at this time, except for the Sten had a, I believe experimental only, sheet metal folded, welded, skeletal pistol grip with a backplate, so you didn't have to have a stock on it for paratroopers. So that was real, that did exist, but it didn't look like this, and it wasn't on a Thompson. Yeah, the barrel's been cut right back. It's probably 1.5 inches long. That's not going to do your ballistics any favours. I can't quite work out what's going on with the foregrip, but holding this thing would be difficult and uncomfortable, and you'd probably shoot your fingers off. Let's see it in action.
Losing objective Baker. Flamethrower, fueled and ready. They got me pinned. Baker is lost.
Never seen anyone do a tactical reload with a 100-round Thompson mag before. Having handled one and fired a 1921 Thompson with that drum fitted, let me tell you, simply replacing the mag, or taking the magazine off and putting it on, is difficult. Holding two of these gigantic things in one hand and like doing a retention reload with them, no. If you were lucky enough to have more than one of these mags, I don't know what you'd do, but you wouldn't be able to do that.
Losing objective Baker. Recon mission ready. Find the buzz.
Right, we've had the Volkssturmgewehr on this series before, and you may recall that it is meant to be an extremely simple semi-automatic rifle for the use of reserve, like last-ditch troops. So what you don't want to be doing is pimping it like it's your ride with ludicrous drum magazines, foregrips, optical sights, weird bird charms, or anything else that's been applied to this unfortunate beast. Yeah, so this thing has another issue, which is a common one in computer game representations of the Volkssturmgewehr, it comes from the name, Volkssturmgewehr. People assume it's people's assault rifle, and therefore it's automatic. It wasn't. It was self-loading only. What it actually is Volkssturm, as in the German Home Guard, Gewehr, rifle. So I think it's a simple misunderstanding of the name. So it should not be firing automatically, and it definitely shouldn't be festooned with nonsense. Right, just for our collective sanity, I feel like I need to hold this and tell it that everything's going to be okay, having seen that version. This is a proper SGG-44, unmolested, but it does have an actual Second World War optical sight on it that was actually designed to be used on this rifle. Now, in the event very few actually made it out of the factory, I'm not sure they were ever officially issued. There are test trials photos of them being used out in the field, but at least it existed. Whenever I see one of these anachronistic optical sights, I think of this because it's the closest thing we've got to something like that, and it is in the game, so they have represented it. I believe the idea was to have one in each grupper, each squad, with this sight so they could function as a designated marksman, albeit with a reduced power cartridge. So if you want a modernized World War II rifle, this should be it. What I want to do now is thank all of you who've actually followed me over to the Royal Armouries YouTube channel. We really appreciate how many of you have done that, because it's let us get this. We have got 100,000 subscribers. We've actually got 144,000 subscribers, in no small part thanks to you guys. So thank you very much indeed. If you haven't checked out our channel over at the Royal Armouries, please do so. And as always, we've got links in the description for donations and our membership scheme. Thanks again, guys. See you next time.